Hello, welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast, and you can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He is the CHGO White Sox community leader. We are joining you for some reason in Studio B. You know, we're the team that has 73 wins. The other team, I get it, they beat the Mets. They're good.
And Jacob deGrom.
I mean, we get Studio B. Anyways, we're coming to you after a White Sox. Hold it. Win. The White Sox win their 73rd game of the 2022 season. They improved to 73-69 on the year. They are still 3 games back on the Cleveland Guardians. Did you say nice, Steven? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. The White Sox are still 3 games back of the Guardians, who won tonight, defeating the Angels 3-1 in Cleveland. The Guardians are at 75-65. Sox again 3 games back, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. But so are the Guardians, and the Guardians have won 5 straight. Herb, how you feeling after this one?
Feeling good. I mean, another pitcher comes in here where he has an inflated ERA, 6+ ERA for Chad Kuhl, and the White Sox get to him early. I mean, the first hit was cracked by Elvis Andrus for a double. Then, I don't know if it was Yohan doing it himself or he was asked to, bunts, and maybe he was bunting for a hit, gets out. So you're giving out up and out with a guy who is a left-handed hitter who can probably hit that way, as he's mostly shifted that way, and advance the runner with the productive out. I didn't like that. And then you subsequently see Eloy continue being Eloy. Very hot right now with that rocket home run he hit off of Chad Kuhl. I thought that was going to continue, but, you know, the offense did not put more runs against Chad Kuhl. He went a smooth, cool 6 and I think a third, with only giving up those 3 earned runs.
Yeah, and I was told to not go to the starting pitching graphic because Steven was making
fine.
it right now. Well, no, I mean, maybe it's a race against time. I mean, Steven, like what? Could we get it done in the next 10 seconds? No. Okay, I'm just kidding. Let's go through the scoring. No, I'm kidding. Let's go through the scoring recap because in the first inning, the White Sox got out to it and after it real quickly. A 3-run homer by Eloy Jimenez. As you said, Andrus doubled, and it's been so fun watching Elvis Andrus play with the White Sox. They showed a graphic right before the game since August 31st, the OPS for White Sox players. Elvis Andrus has an OPS since August 31st of over 1,000. He's been fantastic. I hate the sacrifice bunt, but at this point in the season where this team is being 3 games back, it worked. They won. I don't care. I mean, I honestly don't care. If they win every game 1-0 and it's only by bunts and they only bunt every single 27 batters, all they do is go up and bunt. I don't care. I mean, like, honestly, as long as you win games at this point, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're hitting home runs, which they did tonight, I won't be upset. If you aren't, I won't be upset. It's just win, baby. It's the Al Davis approach to it.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I always want to go back and say, when people tell you, and when they tell you next year in April, it's early, they lose a game like they lost opening day. These are the things that now you're chasing wins, that you have to just win games no matter what. So that's what I'm talking about. It's never too early. This intensity that the White Sox are playing with, this urgency, should be from the beginning of the year. So you don't have to do all this stuff right now. And this is why you probably going to get yourself out of what you really want to do, the process that is correct. So I get what you're saying, because wins are paramount, but they should have had this urgency early in the year, so they could have not had so much urgency now. They could have relaxed. The Dodgers are relaxed and they're chilling. They're cooling because they've wrapped up everything for the most part. Well, now the White Sox are going to be sweating out the last, 20-plus games here because they didn't do their work early.
Right. No,
they're Herb Lawrence in high school.
Amen to that. 20 more games, and the White Sox need to make every single one of those count, being 3 games back of the Guardians. And you're right. I mean, we could just look back at the 8-game losing streak they had in April and just the lack of urgency that they had in those games. And now there's the whole talk of the rumor, or not the rumor, but just the talk of Miguel Cairo gave him basically the same speech Tony's been giving him, but with a different tone. It's like, okay, like the words are still the same, guys. Go out there and fucking hit the ball. It's not different. The White Sox won tonight because they hit home runs. The Moncada bunting really didn't matter because Jose Abreu had a nice 3-2 walk, and then Eloy Jimenez drove in the both of them with a nice home run. He stays hot. He's been fun to watch. I'm
a simple guy. Ball goes far, team goes far.
Thank you, Rick. We did hear from Rick Hahn, and we'll hear from Vinnie Duber a little bit later on in the show about what Rick Hahn had to say. But yeah, funny enough, Rick Hahn finally makes his first appearance since the trade deadline, and the White Sox win with 2 home runs, with the ball going far, and the team that he believed in so much not to add it at the trade deadline getting another win. At this point, with 20 games left, being 3 games back, how do you feel about the Sox's actual chance at this division? Are you feeling, just here we go and let's, we're strapped in, ready to take off and just, be on this ride, or, are you feeling just kind of down about it?
I'm feeling down because of multiple things. Cleveland Guardians are playing well right now. They're not as they were in the funk wherein they're playing the Mariners like 7 games out of 10. And the fact that they didn't change the pitchers for tomorrow. So it's still Dylan Cease tomorrow afternoon versus these Colorado Rockies. I say you should beat the Colorado Rockies no matter which pitcher you have out there, especially if you're at the crib. The games versus Cleveland matter more. They have to matter more because of the tiebreaker rule that MLB has instituted. There's no more 163 anymore. It's just if you have the same record at the end of the year, they'll look back at your head-to-head record. Right now, the Cleveland Guardians have a 9-6 lead on the White Sox going head-to-head. So that means in the 4 remaining games, the White Sox have to win them all. If they end up with the same record at the end of the year, the White Sox would have the tiebreak against the Cleveland Guardians. So knowing that game means more, theoretically, like it's a bigger game. Like it used to be no weighted wins, but now that they've instituted this, these are weighted wins and weighted losses. The Cleveland Guardians win on Thursday. That's pretty much it. They'll have a lead, and they'll have the season series lead, so the White Sox have to actually overcome the Cleveland Guardians, not just tie them on the record. And remember, the Cleveland Guardians have 6 games at home to end their season versus these Kansas City Royals, who almost got no hit today by the Minnesota Twins. That's the weird-ass Minnesota Twins.
That's true. Well, you're all good. And I mean, just looking at the Sox and Guardians season or schedule to end out the season, they basically have the same strength of schedule to end the year. Sox have 3 against the Padres, 4 against the Guardians, 6 against the Twins. Cleveland has 3 against the Rays, 4 against the Sox, 5 against the Twins. Sox have 6 more against the Tigers, which I guess 6 against the Royals. I'd rather have 6 against the Tigers. So you look at that. But the Guardians you have 6 against the Royals to close out their season. Then they have 1 more against the Angels. Sox have 1 more against the Rockies, and then the Cleveland Guardians have 3 more against the Rangers. So I guess you get the better of the Tigers and Royals. You don't have to play 6 against the Royals. You don't have to play 6 against the Tigers, but you have to play 3 against the Padres, where the Guardians have to play 3 against Texas. Maybe Texas can play spoilers. I'm not sure. How do you feel about that?
Not feeling good about that. I'm just thinking that the White Sox pretty much have to win out. Like they have very little room for error right here. And I saw this thing. The Rockies are terrible. Lynn can probably breathe and beat them. Like Lynn, that's the pitcher we're using in the White Sox. Lynn's been dealing out here, Sox Haps. I get what you're saying. The ERA doesn't look great, but he's been dealing. He's probably our second best pitcher going down the stretch right now. It'll be a coin toss between him and Cueto, who I'm pitching on the second game.
You mentioned Thursday's game. There was the report that it's likely Lance Lynn will pitch on that. You're fine with that? You don't like that? You'd rather see Cease? I mean, what's your feelings?
I would rather have your best against them. And I know that the White Sox will the next week play the Guardians again, and you want Cease during that series too. But they dodged Cease in this game that we had to be made up the first time because their field wouldn't drain correctly. And so I don't want them to dodge him again. I want them to get the full flavor of the White Sox. And I think it's Tristan McKenzie, a tough pitcher on their end. So you need to match fire with fire and try to beat them. And I think in that series, it was going to be Cease versus Bieber at the end of the series. So this is the year right here. Thursday afternoon in Cleveland will determine a lot of things going forward. If the Cleveland Guardians win, it's going to be really hard for the White Sox to overcome them, especially with the lead there in the Central and then the season series win.
Well, and Lance Lynn, too, I mean, maybe the thought process is that he's just been good against the Guardians. He wasn't good in the first start he made against the Guardians back on July 11th, giving up 9 hits and 8 earned runs. But in the past 2 starts against the Guardians on July 23rd and August 19th, he had 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. And then on the 19th, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. So maybe it's just past performance. Because Dylan has been all right against the Guardians. He hasn't been extremely dominant, and maybe the thought process is they could load up on lefties. So maybe they'd be able to neutralize a little bit. Like I'm just trying to think of what the process could be, because Jimenez hits righties well. Obviously, J-Ram does. So maybe the addition of Lance Lynn's curveball and the fact that he has 5 pitches, maybe they just like that against a team that really doesn't have a lot of power.
Sox Apps brings up a reason. Someone noted that Cease will actually now get to pitch in 5 games instead of the 4 if he pitches tomorrow. So there is that. I mean,
I'd rather see.
Theoretically,
5 times than 4.
Theoretically, I mean, they're not going to hold. If the last game of the season versus Minnesota was on the line and Dylan Cease only got 3 days of rest instead of 4, they're putting him on the bump.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, 5 more games. I mean, the White Sox are I think like 18-6 when Dylan Cease starts. So, I mean, I'd rather have 5 starts than 4. So, all right. Well, hopefully that ends up happening, and the White Sox can make something out of it. Dylan Cease will start tomorrow against Kyle Freeland. We had some stats earlier on in the pregame show about what Kyle Freeland and Chad Kuhl have done. Obviously, the White Sox didn't annihilate Chad Kuhl. Like we said, they had the homer in the first inning off Chad Kuhl, but they did enough. 3 earned runs was enough to win this game. Rockies only scored 2. And since July, I think it was like 127 innings for Chad Kuhl and Kyle Freeland. And they have an ERA of 7.05. Freeland's the better of the 2, but I'm still expecting the Sox to handle the business tomorrow. I understand Freeland, is a guy that is, one of those below average middling guys, but he's a left-hander. So AJ Pollock should eat. I mean, Jose Abreu coming out, he hit a homer today. Eloy's been hitting, so he hit another homer. Andrew Vaughn. I mean, this should be a game that the White Sox should win, even though I know White Sox fans don't feel super great about, or I thought Giolito was pitching tomorrow. I mean, especially with your ace on the mound. I mean, like, this should be a dusting, as we say. It's not a sweep because it's not 3 games, but it should be a dusting because it's 2 games.
And you saw them out there today. There was really nothing that scares you about these Colorado Rockies. You've heard of Charlie Blackmon, but it's the ghost of Charlie Blackmon out there playing for them. And CJ Cron, power, good. He's awesome. But that's about it. And then the guy who hit the home run, not Daza, was it? It was at the end of their lineup. Just got
it was his first one.
Just got a hanging curveball or slider.
Alan Trejo.
The shortstop just got a hanging slider, a curveball up in the zone, and he put his bat to the ball, hit it out. I thought it was not that bad of a pitch, but Trejo put bat to ball and put the barrel on it and got out in left field. So there's nothing there that's great.
DNB Rockies pulling a Herb Lawrence, and they tweeted out Alan Ray Trejo, tweeting out the full name for Alan. So shout out to them for that one.
Clever.
Rockies are 61-81 on the year. And they really haven't been too much of a foe for the Sox. I just think back again to that second game in Colorado. It was more the White Sox beating themselves because the White Sox should have had another win against the Rockies back then. That one, I think, was a part of the other 42. So we can go to this graphic, Steven, and then we'll talk about the pitchers. It was back on July 27th. The White Sox lost 6-5. That was the 30th game of the other 42. As Hawkaroo used to say, there's you win 60, you lose 60. It's the other 42 that count. The White Sox currently have 53 of those 60 wins, 51 of those 60 losses, and they are 20-18 in their other 42. This was an easy win for the Sox, going 4-2, an insurance home run from Jose Abreu in the 8th inning. And I love it mainly because I won money off of it, Heard. At plus 425 on PointsBet, turned $10 into 52. You love to see it.
That's real nice. I know you had multiple bets working against each other, but you would much rather have the Jose Abreu home run there in the 8th inning tonight versus my cousin, Justin Lawrence. He is the second only extra base hit from a right-hander off of Justin Lawrence, who's been filthy this year. And so Jose Abreu has something to talk about there. And second game in a row he hits a home run too?
Yeah. Not second game.
Oh, no, his first game he's hit one since the
first game. Yeah, first home game he's hit a home run since August 3rd.
That's what made it so impressive for you to have that call and say it in pregame.
Well, yeah, so can we go to that clip? We got a clip from pregame.
Absolutely.
Herb, that was my click to pick. I'm absolutely going to take the victory lap on this. Who'd you pick?
I picked Luis Robert.
Okay, you picked Luis Robert, who, he did click because his hand was looking all right. It seemed like he was doing all right with the swings. The wrist looked healthy-ish. Dr. Herb?
Yeah, it looked okay. It looked much better. It looked better than before. I saw very little grimacing, very little one-handed swings. I know you saw one in the second at bat, but his first swing was 103 off the bat. With the second one was 100 off the bat. So he can still generate power and generate some exit velocity, and that's good. It's as long as it's not hurting him like it was obviously hurting him in Baltimore and obviously hurting him last week.
It definitely looked a little bit better. But let's go to my pregame call on what I had to say about Jose Abreu, because Alex Root, who said "love y'all" a little bit earlier,
love him too.
I used to make these full screen jinxes. And I think I did that with Jose Abreu in the pregame show. Here's Jose Abreu since August 4th. I saw some of this discussion online. We have a little bit before this game starts. 158 plate appearances for Jose since August 4th. 47 hits, but only 6 doubles, no triples, no homers, 11 RBIs, 10 walks, 33 strikeouts. He's slashing 331, 386, and slugging 376. Are you worried about Jose? I think he bounces back, hits one of these homers. We can kind of see that he's trading away that power and looking just to get on base for this team, and it's been working. I think that this team, especially the way they've loosened up a bit, I think Jose is going to loosen up a bit, maybe start cracking over some homers. He's been making contact. I'm not worried about him. Well, yeah. And I saw some dialogue today about these numbers and the fact that he doesn't have a homer since August 4th, and some hot takes like Jose's washed. Like, Jose is doing whatever he can right now to help this team, and I think that he will turn it around. I think tonight is a perfect day to do that.
Clap, clap, clap. Look at Sean.
Hey, baby.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. It just... broken clocks, right? Twice a day. Herb, I haven't had too many of these calls. Blind squirrel finds a nut. I haven't had too many calls like this, so I'll take them where I can. But Jose Abreu, again, I'm not going to doubt him. I know that Matt Zawoski said I'm the notable Jose Abreu hater, but
yes, you are.
I love him. I love Pito. He's been great for the White Sox, playing in every single game. It's just a rough spot, all right? We're going to see another homer tomorrow against Kyle Freeland. I'm just not betting that one because my luck isn't that good.
Abreu's good for your pocketbook, too. Right? That's nice. Turning, 10 till 50?
Yeah, and I did that before on the Kyle Hendricks game. I did that a little bit earlier.
You've gotten rich on him twice
now.
So
I've bet on Abreu hitting a home run twice, and I'm 2 for 2.
Hey, man, keep on going.
Hey.
You say he's going to hit one tomorrow. Might as well.
We'll see how I feel.
Put that same money down.
We'll see how I feel when I wake up tomorrow.
Put that same 50 down. You can make that 50 into 150?
I could, and I could also turn it into dust.
That's fine. You never had it in your hand.
It's true. But the White Sox looked great tonight. Also, the bullpen looked fantastic as well. Reynaldo Lopez looked good. Jimmy Lambert, a little bit rocky, but got the job done. Kendall Graveman looked fantastic. And Liam Hendricks also got the job done. Great all-around bullpen pitching. Kopech was iffy, but I'll talk on the bullpen first just because it was a big positive.
Yeah, the bullpen covering 4 innings. We knew that Kopech was probably going to be pulled early. We wanted 5 innings out of him, less than 1 earned for me, 1 earned or less, and he gave up 2 on that home run by Trejo. But I thought he looked fine. I thought the guy was composed for the most part, not walking a ton of people, and got this fastball up to 96 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was decent. I mean, he's just working his way back. This is the second start back from the IL, so I'll take what he gave the White Sox. I knew he wasn't going to give him a lot, but as our guy Stephen Nicholas, the producer of this show, said, he needs to learn what Dylan Cease has done. Early in the year, he wasn't going that far. Same thing with Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease has earn more soft contact and hitting the balls to his defenders. Kopech needs to understand that. Stop going deep into counts, especially when you have to have, a pitch count today. I don't know how many pitches he threw, but I think it was somewhere in the 80s where
80.
That you need to have a economy and you need to know, okay, I can't go 3-2 with every guy. I can't go 2-2 with every guy. It's got to go quicker. I got to just throw the ball over the plate. And if they can hit my fastball, tip the cap.
Herb, I want to talk to you about the panic as a producer where you think you have
Why are you
something,
gonna call me out
whether
like
a
that?
piece of audio or maybe a graphic, and it's just not there, and you have the panic of like, oh man, I have these 20 seconds before the host is about to go there.
I mean, we've been there.
We've been there.
I put the pregame one in. I should have had the post one.
And being in Studio B, it's such a tighter space. You saw we were in Studio A, a lot of space, a lot of walls. I mean, I heard Stephen Nicholas literally his sigh of relief once he got that in there. So, Stephen, let's go to the starting pitching graphic. I'm not calling you out. I just think it's funny.
Really
just because
savor this one.
We didn't need it at this point. Chad Kuhl went 6 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits allowed, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Michael Kopech went 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 hits allowed, no walks, 3 Ks. Michael Kopech had 80 pitches. We did hear Miguel Cairo when they were out in Seattle. He would have about a pitch count of around 75 to 80 before they pulled them. It seemed like that was true tonight as well. And then let's go to the velocity breakdown first. So you mentioned 96, and Steven, you're usually in and out of doing these shows because you got other duties, either making graphics or setting up stuff like this. And I remember you came in, I think about at that first dip right there, and it went down to 90, and you're like, ooh, he's at 90, and I was like, it's the start of the inning, and I think he was just kind of iffy. And I think that's just what we've seen. He's late in September. He's never thrown this many pitches. 1 second.
That's good.
I don't know where you're at, if you still have the pitching graphic from earlier today before the game, the one that you accidentally put in, not the one that has the final lines, but we're looking at the innings pitched for Kopech this year. And I mean, his most he's thrown in the minor leagues was, I think, 135. And right now, before the game is at 114, you add 5 in, so he's at 119. So I think part of it is just working through that stamina, working through that probably maybe that gas feeling he has, dealing with those injuries. Like, it's a whole economy of injuries and issues he's going through. And the fact that he can still go 5 innings, 3 hits, do it with kind of middle stuff, because it was good at sometimes and it was bad at sometimes, and even Jason and Gordon broke down the slider where he was getting good release points, and then at some points he was not. He was getting on the side of the ball on times with the slider, and then sometimes he was just not. He was going to the curveball more, I think, just for the velocity difference to throw people off the slider and fastball. So he worked well as a pitcher tonight. I also saw a couple changeups I liked from him. He had one early on in the game that was around 87, just below the strike zone. It looked fantastic. The batter didn't swing at it, but I really do think that Kopech, without his best stuff, having kind of mid stuff tonight, did a very good job of pitching, and I think it was a nice performance for Kopech. If he does this again, I think that he'll be effective and can continue to get the White Sox wins.
Yeah, and you saw after one of the innings where he threw a nasty curveball to end the inning to strike out a Rockies batter. Kind of goes off the mound, kind of peeved at himself. It probably wasn't that curveball, because the curveball had great depth. It went from 12 to 6, and you saw it went exactly where Yasmani wanted the ball to go. But it was probably the pitches before, as Gordon Beckham and Jason Benetti were breaking it down. They did show a slider that was kind of high that the batter had missed, and then they showed when he actually executed the pitch, as you're saying, it went down low in the zone and below the zone, and so he was probably pissed that he still threw that pitch. While it didn't get tagged, he still threw that pitch high and not where he wanted it to go. So he's still working through these things where sometimes you don't have your best control of the pitch. You don't have the command and where you want to put it. And so he's working through coming back off the IL, rattling through the dead arm period, the lactic acid that builds up, understanding that this is what he needs to do for the rest of his career. These are going to be the innings he'll be throwing the rest of his career, because this is going to be the tired feeling he'll have at the end of the year. So, yeah, to go 5 innings with the pitch count and all the stuff that was on the table, he did a good job for himself.
We got Vinnie Duber joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field, but let's first tell you about our friends over at PointsBet. This football season, PointsBet is bringing you a better way to bet live on games, which means when you are watching on Thursday or maybe even Sunday, or hey, maybe I've heard Herb, this is a rumor, they play games on Monday as well, which means before or as long as it takes me to read this ad, you can place a live same-game parlay, bet on the next drive to be a touchdown, and cash out your live second-half over bet. With PointsBet, you have access to more live football markets than ever before. You can build the perfect live same-game parlay by combining your favorite bets anytime during the game, including spreads, totals, player props, and more, and you can choose the outcome of the next drive and next points with PointsBet's Lightning Bets. So whether you are on the move or on the couch, do it live on PointsBet. Download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. I used PointsBet today to win $52 on Jose Abreu hitting a home run, and you can as well. So use the best sportsbook out there in PointsBet. And we got to tell you also about the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Not only do they have fantastic ticket prices and offers, you can get great day of deals on the Gametime app, but also they have fantastic customer service. Herb dealt with them when he was down in Atlanta, got tickets to see the Braves at Truist Field, and he saw better prices on a different app, reached out to him, and he got 110% of his money back. So they got him the best deal, even though he already bought his tickets. So it was created by fans for the fans. They're going to guarantee you the lowest price, and you won't find a better deal this season on White Sox tickets. But hey, the Bears are 1-0. Maybe you want to go see the Bears. You won't find better deals on the Bears. You are not limited to what you want to see. Maybe you want to go see Pavement play at the Chicago Theater. I bet your ass it's on Gametime. All right, so go check out the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets, sports, concerts, and shows. If you love CHGO, then you love Gametime. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. So if you're on YouTube or if you're on Spotify, click the description, click the link, and buy your tickets through the Gametime link. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Gametime app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Let's head out to Guaranteed Rate Field and talk to the CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber. You can follow him and his CHGO shirt on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. Hi, Vinnie.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
No, we're good. White Sox winner. This is the 30th game where the White Sox have hit 2 or more home runs. Do you know what their record is?
I saw somebody tweet it. I think it's pretty good.
25-5 were the good vibes good in the clubhouse after their 25th win with 2 homers or more.
Yes.
Nice.
Win.
What was it like? I mean, was it EDM?
The vibes are always good when there's winning. Yeah, it was some sort of dance music. It was terrible. But
some of the fans were saying that now that Tony's leaving, there's more EDM with the walk-up songs. So Tony was holding back the EDM flavor with this team. Do you have a response?
Thank you.
Well, my response is that the walk-up songs were all pretty bad when he was the manager too. So I don't really think there's been marked improvement or decline one way or the other. Andrew Vaughn's still got that horrible country song that he plays every time he walks up. It's all pretty bad. AJ Pollock has that fake Fleetwood Mac song that he plays when he walks up. I don't really think the only person who's had a good walk-up song all year was Adam Hazley, and he's not walking up a lot.
No.
I was just wondering, how does Kopech feel? 80 pitches tonight. I know they had him on a count, but it seemed like he felt like some of his command and control might have been off because one of his innings he struck somebody out with a curveball and he kind of was like yelling at himself. Did he feel good about his outing?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was happy enough with the results, right? Only 2 runs given up, so that's good. But he said that they took advantage of some of his stuff being off a little bit tonight. Again, I didn't think it was that bad of an outing, but of course, you grade on results a lot of the time. And so, until he gets kind of back to normal here, they're going to have him on a count a little bit. But it's going to really be the same way they've treated him all year, which is they're going to be really focused on him and listen to him and see how he feels. And if they see him feeling good enough to take him off of a pitch count his next time out, then they will. And if they think that he is still kind of working his way back from that injured list stint, then they're going to keep him on the count. So that's what Miguel Cairo had to say after the game anyway.
And is the count still around 75 to 80? Is that just why they pulled him? Was that, he finished the fifth inning at 80, and that was just around that pitch count that they said in Seattle?
Yeah, so he hit 74, I think, in Seattle in his first start off the IL, and Miguel said tonight that it looked like he ran out of gas in that game a little bit, so I think they wanted to prevent that from happening. They wanted to get him out of there before he seemed too tired, so perhaps that pitch count went up, maybe, inside the White Sox offices or something like that, but they felt that getting to 75 maybe was a bit of a chore for him in the first game out. Maybe don't push it so far to 85 or 90 and kind of get him out around the same number this time.
You can read Vinny's work at allchgo.com, become a member there, and that's where he referred to Miguel Cairo's managerial ways as the Cairo way. I think you should patent that. And you say the White Sox with Miguel Cairo are winners of 9 of 13, now 10 of 14 in games they've played since La Russa made a sudden and unexpected departure from the club. That's in your latest piece on allchgo.com. But Herb was kind of like frustrated that you left in the fact that Tony was pulled before that game, so it really shouldn't count that's the first game that Miguel Cairo managed. Should count towards Miguel Cairo. But then I saw that this quote came out, the quote that you have here, about how Miguel Cairo saw something in that loss and then had to say something. And, the players kind of saying it's the same thing that Tony's been saying, but it was a different tone. Can you kind of give us some color to what the guys were talking about with that specific instance there?
Yeah, well, we heard it described over the weekend, by USA Today's Bob Nightingale, who was in Oakland and talked to everybody in Oakland, as kind of a fiery speech. And what we heard from Liam Hendriks today was basically the message was, if you're in this thing, great, and if you're not, you can kind of get the hell out of here. I think it was more harshly delivered. And one thing that Miguel Cairo was asked about was, did you ever have a manager? This guy played in the big leagues for more than 15 years. Did you ever have a manager who did this and did it work, kind of thing? And he went, oh yeah, all the time. He goes, I had a lot of managers and coaches who flipped out at times, and it always works. So that was interesting to hear. Of course, maybe he would have left that detail out, perhaps, if the White Sox, went 5-5 after that or something like that. Right. But it seems to have worked. It's being credited by a lot of the guys as something that did really kind of, inject some life into this team. And again, I think what I was saying all weekend, or basically ever since Tony's been out and they've been performing well, I think is true. I think there's a myriad reasons that that they are playing better. And I think, though, that you can point now to Miguel Cairo kind of, being a different voice as one of those things. And I even asked Rick Hahn today, I said, is there just something to variety? Is there something to just hearing the same thing differently that could have worked for this team? And he said, yeah, maybe. He wanted to credit the whole coaching staff. Rick did. And, certainly that's probably the case, I would imagine, for a first-time manager. Leaning on the other guys around you is definitely something that's going to happen. Apparently Tony La Russa is one of those guys. We heard from Miguel that they've been talking a lot, that he has been running, when he's got maybe a very specific lineup question. He was very, very forceful in saying that he's the one who makes the lineups, did Miguel. But when he's got a specific question, he goes to Tony with it. When he, whenever he talks to Tony, it's, what could I have done better? What would have maybe put us in a better position here and there? Tony is a wealth of experience. Nobody can doubt that. And so for a guy doing this for the first time, to hear from somebody with that resume on a regular basis has to be helpful. Very much the same talk from Miguel Cairo about Tony La Russa as we've heard from the players all year. Nothing but positive reviews, and I think, he's even used the word mentor, the word father, to describe what Tony means to him. And so obviously great contrast there with the way people inside this White Sox clubhouse and inside this White Sox organization feel about Tony, as opposed to what the fan base feels about Tony. It's worth listening to when these guys say these things, I think, because it paints a fuller picture of everything that's going on.
Last time Kendall Graveman saw these Colorado Rockies, he was giving up 3 earned runs and a walk-off loss to the Colorado Rockies. Feels good to have 4 innings of 4 strikeouts and only 2 hits by this bullpen to pick up all the innings they did today. What did they have to say, and what did Miguel have to say about the good performance from the bullpen?
I mean, they were fantastic. Not much more you could say other than they were great. Michael Kopech had a lot of good stuff to say, obviously, after they, as you mentioned, kind of picked him up a bit after he was only able to go 5, whether through his own ability or just, the way the team wanted to handle it tonight. But you're seeing what that late inning group is, right? I mean, Jimmy Lambert, Reynaldo Lopez, Kendall Graveman, Liam Hendricks. That's the 4 right now for the White Sox when they need to lock down a tight game. And, man, you couldn't have predicted that when the season started. Obviously, those 2 guys at the very back are filling the roles that they were supposed to. But Jimmy Lambert and Reynaldo Lopez have just been consistently reliable guys. And that is a great weapon to have as you move into the postseason when, the guys that maybe aren't in those roles right now aren't going anywhere. Aaron Bummer's still going to be in the bullpen if the White Sox make the playoffs. Joe Kelly still going to be in the bullpen if the White Sox make the playoffs. And if those guys can rediscover even a little bit of the magic that has made them effective late inning guys in the past, suddenly you've got this gigantic group of relievers that you can return to or that you can turn to if you're either Miguel Cairo or Tony La Russa, whoever happens to be managing the team in such a situation. But, those 2 guys, Lambert and Lopez, have just been fantastic this season. And to be able to pair those 2 kind of out of nowhere guys with the 2 guys who you're paying to do that job at the end, that's huge for this team.
And you talked to Liam today. What was the vibe that you got from him? Obviously, you talked to him more pregame than postgame, but he had another great outing today. He's just been so fantastic as a White Sox in general. What was his vibe today, and what's he been like throughout this entire season?
Yeah, Liam Hendricks kind of always has the same vibe. He speaks honestly about whether that's about himself or whether that's about the team and the state of the team. He's been a guy who's been beating the drum all year of, we need to find the energy. We need to figure this out. We need to, he has been very forthright that things were amiss for most of the season here. And I think the way he's describing it now that they have kind of rediscovered that attitude and that swagger that Rick Hahn talked about after the trade deadline, he's kind of been able to talk through the process, has Liam, about you can't manufacture this. It can't be fake. It has to be organic. It might take something like a Miguel Cairo stepping up and firing everybody up. It more so takes playing better baseball and actually hitting the ball and actually scoring runs. I think that you're seeing that from these White Sox right now. And I don't think anybody can doubt that this is a different looking team than it was even 3 weeks ago, and certainly than it was for the majority of this season. And because of the circumstances of their division, it's not the end of the world that they waited till the very last month of the regular season to kind of find themselves here, and they're right in the thick of this race.
You and the assembled media spoke to Rick Hahn before the game. What do you have to say about the latest on Tony La Russa's health?
Yeah, not really much that he could add, to be honest. It was more so just here you're finally hearing from the general manager of the team about whether or about just what this situation is like. And it sounds like the White Sox are going to fully and totally listen to Tony's doctors and medical experts, as well as Tony, about how he feels and whether he's able to, at any point this year, come back to the dugout and return as the team's manager. Right now, it is uncertain when or if that would happen. You know what I mean? They're just kind of making sure that he makes the full medical recovery first. And some of the comments were even, very interesting in terms of he really, Rick Hahn's never a guy that puts the cart before the horse. And it really seems to be that they are waiting till the health portion of this is fully resolved until they move on to the next step, which would be, does he manage again, for the team this year? That all has to wait to be seen. And that is not something that they can really decide on right now. There was one question he was asked, which had a very interesting answer that I'm sure fans will love to hear and freak out about. But the question was, are the medical situations and the way Tony's feeling the only factors in that decision, in the decision of whether he comes back to manage the team this year? And Rick started that off by saying, it's a conversation that will have to be had at that point. We have not reached that point yet. And maybe and again, Sean, you're smiling. I know everybody's going to hear that. Everybody's going to hear that, and it's going to be a thing. And it should be, because it was an interesting answer. But
real
my
quick,
point being,
I smiled for a different reason. I sent Steven a graphic request for something I want to do with you after this answer. So I already in the comments, I sent
there
him
it
the
is.
graphic request.
And it's been posted. Wonderful.
That's all. Yeah, no.
No, listen, I mentioned that because I think I mentioned that because I think people are going to want to hear it. They deserve to hear it because it was interesting. It caught my ear, certainly, when he said that. What I would caution about when you hear that quote is Rick Hahn could be talking about the fact that they don't know if they're ever going to get to that point. You know what I mean? And it's very possible that the White Sox never have to make a baseball-related decision because there's never going to be a point where they get the medical clearance. But the point is that they don't know right now. And so I think they don't want to talk about a hypothetical that might not happen until they have all the information to make that decision.
Well, and I don't know what you make of this, but like when Tony was talking in Oakland before Dave Stewart's jersey retirement ceremony, I mean, he kind of was saying, like, if the clubhouse wants me back, do you think that's a part of it at all? Like, if Tony's kind of vibe on that of if the clubhouse doesn't want him, that he might not want to be back, like, is that part of that conversation as well, or do you think it's strictly medical?
I think that is a Tony La Russa cliche. And I say that because Tony La Russa was asked when they were eliminated from the playoffs last year by Houston, are you coming back next year? And that was his answer. And I mean, they had just won the division. They had just won the division for the first time in over a dozen years. As you know, the Tony La Russa job status part was not, it was a very different situation at that point because it was not necessarily all the fans want him to be fired like it is right now. It was, did he come here to win the World Series in one season and is he going to continue? You know what I mean? It was very much, nobody knew whether this was a long haul thing for him. And it turned out he did come back, and that's fine. And certainly when we asked people about that quote, I mean, and by people, I mean guys on the team, they were all very supportive of him coming back, as you would expect from everything that the players have said about him up to this point. So I think that the first thing that I think about when I hear that is a Tony La Russa-ism. And he probably just said that because it's what he's always said.
Makes sense. With Rick Hahn speaking today, I know you did get updates on Tim Anderson, and did he speak about Luis Roberts' wrist? I guess maybe about Luis Roberts' wrist first, just because we saw Luis return to the lineup today. No hits for Luis, but he did seem to have his healthier swings, or most healthy swings, maybe since late August, which is a good sign. So did Rick provide any update on Luis, and the final update on maybe if Tim Anderson, if there's any update on TA?
So TA has been cleared to get back to the last baseball-related things that he needs to do in order to get back. The big thing is swinging. That should be no surprise, and I think White Sox fans are now familiar with maybe how difficult it is to swing with an injured hand, finger, whatever, because of the way they've watched Luis Robert over the last few weeks. Tim Anderson obviously had the surgically repaired tendon in his finger, and I think, as Miguel Cairo said, that is going to make it a little bit easier. It's not this ongoing thing. It's a healed surgery, that has happened here. So, but what Rick cautioned about, particularly what people want to know when it comes to what are they going to do with both TA and Elvis Andrus, is that after being away for 6 or 6+ weeks, is TA going to play every single day? He might not. That might just be the reality because he might not be up to doing that after missing so much time. And so that might be the way that the White Sox kind of get TA and Elvis in there both at the same time. Now, that's not to cause any sort of panic that they would never play on the same infield. They very well could. But, Miguel was asked about that, and he was like, yeah, of course we have to find a way to keep Elvis in the lineup. So, very obvious that's the case. So, but yeah, TA is moving on to the next step, and he's ramping up to coming back. As for Luis Robert, basically, the only update that was given, because here Luis was in the lineup tonight, the only update that was given from Rick was why they didn't put him on the injured list. And basically they said there was never a time where the diagnosis was he was going to miss 10 games or more, at least not even from, at least from the standpoint of he could still help them, as we saw him do as a pinch runner and defensive replacement, that kind of thing. So Luis Robert was back tonight. He struck out a few times. I don't know if he necessarily looked like Luis Robert, but he didn't look like the guy who was swinging with one hand, in recent weeks.
And Vinny, last thing I got for you, I want to know if Tony appeared in the clubhouse. You guys saw Tony today.
We did not. Okay. He was Miguel told us he was in the manager's office and talking with the coaches like it was kind of a normal day, in terms of pregame conversation and that thing. I heard that he, greeted all the players when he was in Oakland, so they saw him recently enough. I don't know if he needed to come by 2 days later. Supposedly he was on the flight with them back from Oakland, so I don't know if he needed to go around and greet everyone again or anything like that. But he was with the coaching staff today, and then he watched the game from a suite.
Cool. Is he going to travel with the team? Was that update given?
It was not. That question was asked, but that update was not given. No.
What did they say about if he will travel?
Miguel did not know.
Okay, but Rick wasn't asked?
No.
Okay, all right. Do you think he will?
Maybe. He's been on a plane a few times in recent days, right? He had to fly from Phoenix to Oakland. He flew from Oakland to Chicago. Those are not, the easiest flights in the world. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we were talking on the pregame show about like what could possibly be holding him back from being medically cleared, and I was just thinking like, well, even just traveling might be a lot for him. So then add on working and managing those games. So I wonder if traveling is enough, and maybe that's light enough for him to do, but then adding the stressor of managing and working on top of that from day to day, maybe that's just the what's holding him back from returning to the lineup. Just trying to figure out, Vinny, some stuff, if he's going to be coming back or not. All right, I want to go into, since you mentioned, not that one, we'll skip the Diane Viciedo stuff. You mentioned Miguel Cairo, because that's not Diane Viciedo. I hate to break it to you, Vinny.
What? I'm shocked.
You mentioned Miguel Cairo pulling from his managerial index on his rants. So here are Miguel Cairo's managers, and I want you guys to let me know who probably Miguel Cairo pulled from the most. He was managed by Cito Gaston on the 96 Blue Jays, 97 Cubs by Jim Riggleman, from 98 to 2000 on the Rays by Larry Rothschild, 2001 by Don Baylor, 2001 to 2003 Tony La Russa on the Cardinals, 2004 to 2007 Joe Torre on the Yankees, 2007 another reunion with Tony La Russa and the Cardinals, in 2008 John McLaren and Jim Riggleman, so reuniting with his old manager from 1997, 2009 Charlie Manuel in Philadelphia, and then ended his career from 2010 to 2012 on the Reds with Dusty Baker. So who do you think he's probably pulling from most in maybe a tirade in some sort?
Well, I always think about when people talk about Lovie Smith and how he never cussed, he would keep a calm demeanor, but then sometimes when the team would mess up, he would come in but he would throw things and his voice would get loud. That has more of an effect because of a calm demeanor saying it. You're not always yelling. When you're always yelling, they could just tune that out. And so him doing that yelling to the players, it might have been different from what the players like, wait, Miguel? What? Come on. And so I'm thinking a calm guy you see on there is Cito Gaston. A guy that just keeps his cool, a steely reserve about himself for the most part. When you saw him managing for the Blue Jays, it's easy because they're great. But him or Jim Riggleman, guys that you see in the public eye, they're just relaxed, calm. And then once they yell, you're like, oh, man, I got to listen because, Riggs is talking some stuff now.
Vinny?
A lot of old guys on that list, huh?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, you got Tony, you got Joe Torre, Charlie Manuel, Dusty.
Cito was old, right? And Larry Rothschild,
and certainly Jim Riggleman by 2008. That's
Don Baylor,
but I would venture to guess that there were probably a number of those guys who would fall into that category. Charlie Manuel seems to me like a guy who could lose it a bit in the clubhouse. That 2009 Phillies team made the World Series, right? Lost to the Yankees. Yep. But yeah, I'll go ahead and go with Charlie Manuel as someone who could have whipped up some sort of Yosemite Sam style rant or something like that.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to take a bet, I think I might actually go with Dusty. Dusty kind of gives that same, it seems like he has a good energy to himself. Dusty Baker does, and Miguel Cairo seems to be a pretty genial guy. So maybe they're real genial in the media, and they're trying to keep it light because they're former players, but then they really know how to go on that rant when they need to. It really does feel like kind of like a good cop, bad cop situation with Tony La Russa and Miguel Cairo, though. I did like Josh Harrison's remark on how it was, and I think Liam basically said the same thing. It was the same rant that we've heard before, but it was just a different tone, and that's maybe why it got to us. And again, maybe that's just they're just saying that because they won, and they have been winning, but they have been doing that, and they haven't been doing that all season. So we'll take it whenever they can, and if it's because of a tirade or not. But thank you, Vinny, for joining us. Final thing, Miguel Cairo mentioned Lance Lynn might be starting on Thursday. Can you confirm that?
I cannot confirm that. We're supposed to hear from the Sox at some point about what the details on that are. He seemed rather foggy on whether that would be the case or not, did Miguel. So perhaps it will be Lance Lynn on Thursday. When we know for sure from the team, we'll tweet it out.
Sounds good. I'm for them moving Lance Lynn. I know that you said all the wins matter, but hey, if they could sweep the Guardians, I think that'd be a whole lot better than just beating the Rockies and Padres in 4 games. But we'll see what happens with the White Sox rotation. But we'll talk to you tomorrow when the Sox and Rockies play in an afternoon slate.
Sounds good, guys. Take it easy.
All right, you can follow Vinny on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and he has a very recent article that just dropped today about Tony La Russa and Miguel Cairo. A lot of the stuff that we talked about is in there with some more full quotes and the full picture in there. So Vinny does some great work on allchgo.com, and you should go over there, sign up, and become a member because we got some fantastic coverage on that website. Also, since it is the best coverage for your favorite sports teams, we already got you covered on that. You got to get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Foco has you covered from Soldier Field, not for long, to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leaders in sports merch and collectibles. Foco, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life, if Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Check out Foco.com or click the link in the description below to check out all they have to offer. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Again, go to Foco, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below to check out what they have to offer. And for all non-presale items, use promo code CHGO for 10% off. I know we got a lot of bobbleheads out there. I saw some Justin Fields ones. I think they bought that one from Foco. That one's real nice. They got some White Sox ones for you City Connect fans. There's a Dallas Keuchel Gold Glove one out there. So definitely check out the great bobbleheads that they have at Foco.com. And I want to tell you people, too, about our Bears tailgate. It's the first ever official CHGO Bears tailgate ahead of the Bears-Texans game on Sunday, September 25th. The 4-hour pregame party begins at 8 a.m. and goes all the way to kickoff. Our all-inclusive tailgate experience at the corner of Michigan and Roosevelt will feature a top-rated food truck, brews and booze, games and music from a local DJ for only $34, my friend. Bears. And the lot is less than a 15-minute walk to Soldier Field through Grant Park. Limited parking upgrades are also available, but are going fast. So if you want to bear down at the biggest and best party in the Windy City, go to allchgo.com to reserve your spot now, or click the link in the description below for more info. And it's $34 again, of course, because Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Speaking of Lovey.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Lovey's coming back to Soldiers Field. It's going to be good times. We're going to have a good drinking/eating experience. Sean might be there. I don't know. It's going to be an enjoyable time. How'd you guys meet us there?
Yeah, meet us there and come check us out. I mean, it's basically, we're trying to throw the best party for y'all. We're just trying to have the best Bears party, and that's all we're trying to do here at CHGO. If we're having the best White Sox party, we're gonna try to have the best White Sox party. If we're gonna try to make it the best fan experience.
It was good. Our White Sox tailgate was awesome. We enjoyed it thoroughly. The game sucked, but the pregame and tailgate and all the good people out there joining us, man, mercy. I'll tell you what,
game sucked.
Good times. I'm sure they had one. I missed it that day. They had one for the Red Stars in the Fire down here at Soldier Field. Saw a lot of people out there for that, but this seems like the biggest one. Like on Michigan and Roosevelt, food truck and drinks, $34. It's a steal.
Right. And hey, shout out to Pijo336 in the chat here. I haven't seen this name too much, but wouldn't have made it through the season without this podcast. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate Pijo336 for saying that. I saw that we had like 76 ratings on Spotify, and the rating was like 4.9. So all of you people supporting us, whether you're liking this video, liking the stuff on Spotify or iTunes, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, if you're supporting us in any single way, we really do appreciate it. And we want to see your faces too. So if you want to come out and see the people from CHGO Bears, I'm going to try to make it out there on the 25th. I know Herb will probably try to make it out there. Come out and see us and make some friends because we're friendly people.
I'll be out there. As I said the last podcast, There's a great gentleman that came up to me and said he wanted to challenge me in chugging a beer.
Right.
He did. He lost because, I'm the best. If you also want to go against the best, maybe I'll indulge you that day. We'll see how many people challenge me. I got to still do this show later on that day. I think the White Sox play like the Detroit Tigers that day at home. So I got to come back here, do the pregame, and then the postgame. So I can only do a couple chugs. So come on through, and I can beat you in those.
Chirac Bobby was saying, well, you guys have a post and pregame versus the Tigers on the day of the tailgate.
Yes.
Maybe not a pregame if Herb's going to be out at the tailgate until 12.
Somebody's got to drive me to the studios.
At 12:30. Right. Hey, maybe I'll do a solo show. They gave me the studio space. All right. Let's wrap this up by talking about the Lance Lynn stuff. I thought Vinny was going to give us a nice little talking point there with Lance Lynn, but I guess Lance Lynn is not confirmed for the starter on Thursday. So would they be making a mistake by having Dylan Cease pitch tomorrow, then Giolito on Thursday, and then Lance Lynn on Friday? What should the White Sox do with the rotation?
It's an important game on Thursday, and yes, you could say all of them are important, but we made the point already. The game on Thursday is more important than the games that surround it. This is the game the White Sox need. They have to have it to further their chances to win this division, further their chances to win the season series versus the Cleveland Guardians. So whoever, you don't want your worst pitcher on the bump, and that will be Lucas Giolito. Mm-hmm. And I know he's been LG a couple times. I think even including this year, he's been LG. But you don't want to roll dice with him on the bump versus those Cleveland Guardians who have been hot in the afternoon and all that stuff. If you can push Dylan Cease back, which it didn't seem like they're going to do. It's going to pitch later on Wednesday afternoon. You need to go and have a better pitcher. If Lance is fine and he's got enough rest because of the off day on Monday, I'm good with it. And then have Lucas pitch on Friday versus Detroit, a team that he can much more handle. And he pitched versus them in the opening game of the season.
I think he's got good career numbers against them, too.
Exactly. And so I want the best pitcher available to pitch for the White Sox since it won't be Dylan Cease. Give me Lance Lynn. Yeah. And if they go down to Cleveland on Thursday, at least you went down with your best available pitching that day.
I agree. I mean, the fact that Dylan might be getting 5 starts to end the season, if you go, move him to the Thursday, then he only gets 4 starts the rest of the season. I'd rather take 5 starts from Dylan Cease, and I do trust Lance Lynn enough to do that game on Thursday. So I think they'd be making a mistake if they don't go to Lance Lynn on that Thursday game. Do just appreciate everyone for hanging out with us tonight. White Sox win 4-2. White Sox Tom saying, guys, do a watch along for Thursday. I think Steven Lawrence mentioned that we might not even have a camera for our pregame show.
Yeah, there is a chance of that.
On Thursday.
They do need the extra camera for the CHGO podcast.
I don't know if Thursday is going to be the best
do we have a
day to do a watch along.
We're just doing a audio only pregame?
No, they do all the CHGO extra stuff with Casey has her own camera, Luke has his own camera, Kevin has his own camera. So this
camera will be gone?
That camera will be gone.
Yeah, they pull this one into Studio A.
So we'll figure it out. But I don't know if we're going to be doing Thursday, but we'll definitely make up that live watch along game to you guys. Maybe we'll do that on the 20th or 21st or 22nd. And since Alex Root is back, we'll leave. We're going to wrap up the show. White Sox win 4-2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the pregame show. It's going to start at 12:30, and we will do a postgame show and wrap up the series with you after the game. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ekronwell23. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing the show and for Vinnie Duber for joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. You can follow Vinnie Duber at Vinnie Duber on Twitter. And again, he has a brand new article out at All CHGO, so go check that out on our fantastic website. We will talk to you tomorrow at 12:30 for the CHGO White Sox pregame show. Thank you to Fleetwood Mac for their 1979 album Tusk. Good night and go White Sox.